Responding to tragedy. How do you respond when a tragic event happens? There's been a lot of tragic events that have happened recently. A couple weeks ago in Saskatchewan, there was a horrific bus crash where a lot of young hockey players and their coaches sadly lost their lives. Just the other day in Toronto, a young man rented a van, drove down Yonge Street and jumped over the curb and drove right down the middle of the sidewalk and killed 10 people and seriously wounded 15 others. These are tragic events. I think sometimes we don't even have words to explain how we feel or what goes on in our heart and mind in the midst of these situations. Scott Gilmore, who's a journalist and writes for Maclean's magazine, in response to this van attack, he said, "I'm paid to explain things and to sound confident doing so, but I honestly don't know what to make of this terrifying, remarkable moment." I think Scott speaks for the rest of us when he says, "I don't even know what to make of this horrific moment." How do you respond in these times? As a Christian, as somebody who believes in God, the only thing that I can do, the only thing that I find myself doing in response to these tragedies is praying like Jesus taught us to pray in the Lord's Prayer. "Lord, may your will be done." And that's been my prayer. I got together with my wife after watching the news story about this van attack and just prayed, "Lord, may your will be done in this situation." And I hope that as you respond to this tragedy and the tragedies that we face in our world today, that you would respond by turning to God and not away from Him. It's easy to let these events and these horrific things make us run from God or turn away from Him. But I hope that in these moments you actually turn to God. Right now, our country is still reeling from some of these tragic events. There's families all over our country that are grieving the loss of loved ones. As Christians and as people who put our hope in God, I would encourage you to pray along with Jesus. "Lord, may your will be done in this situation. May you have your way. May you bring comfort. May you bring peace in the midst of chaos." In the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 10, it says, it's talking about Abraham. It says, "For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God." I want to encourage you this week as you think about some of these tragic events to look forward to the city that it's talking about in Hebrews. Abraham looked forward to this city whose architect and builder was God. And what God wants to do in us as He brings redemption to our lives and redemption to the pain and the misery in our world today is to have us hoping for this new city, this city whose architect and builder is God. The foundation is God. And so I want to encourage you to really get into prayer this week as you think about some of the things that have gone on in our country, and to pray along with Jesus that God's will would be done. And also to put your hope in what God is going to bring to pass in the future. This city that we look forward to that is going to be built and structured by God Himself.